The coronavirus pandemic has sent the global economy into a tailspin. Although it's hard to see the full picture of just how badly it has been damaged, the clearest evidence comes with closure of both big and small businesses.
Really crucial to whether we think these businesses are going to survive or not. And the first is money or access to deep pockets, capitalization. So the real question is, can you survive a shutdown? It's more likely if you're a bigger company that you will have that money, but that's not the only factor.
Block says another big factor is how your business was doing before the pandemic. In order to stay afloat, companies have pivoted to selling their products and services online.
Yeah, what we're seeing is that companies that were already well established in the e-commerce space have had a definite edge during the pandemic.
Businesses thrive in a time of exponential change. It has always been their ability to adapt and innovate quickly. And respond to market demand.
Emirates Sky Cargo is the airline that moves the most weight in freight internationally in the world. When the passenger arm of Emirates grounded its flights completely as the COVID-19 pandemic took hold, the cargo side had to intensify its operations to ensure the flow of essential goods and life-saving medical supplies.
Right around the world, as businesses adapt to the COVID-19 pandemic, some companies are transforming their offering entirely. Even some brands associated with the luxury sector are now in the business of producing PPE for key healthcare workers and frontline staff. Much of the advertising industry is on pause due to social distancing, and some adverts have been pulled from the airwaves as they simply don't reflect the current world that we live in. Some companies, however, are adapting their ads to fit the times in a bid to make their brands stick in consumers' minds.
Super important is cash and runway. I'll start with cash and runway first. I think companies gotta have more than 12 months of cash, and ideally, the ability to weather through 2021. Right? Even if we, back to Sanjay's point, nobody knows how long before the markets open up, and how long the recovery is. It's more likely going to be a U-shaped recovery, and funding markets only readjust after that. So the message should be 18 months of cash, and if you raise capital in the last 6 to 12 months, chances are you've raised at a rich price and to a bull plan, so you're going to probably need more time to hit that plan. So makes sense for even you to sort of extend your runway by 6 to 12 months. I think that's one. And then I think the last thing on I'd say on cash and runway is that it's really important to cut fat and preserve muscle. And what do I mean by that? When I say cut fat, it's cutting sales and marketing spend, G&A, making sure, sort of compressing your working capital cycles. But at the same time, retaining your best performers, retaining your core employee base, motivating them, keeping them rallied. So they're ready to fire, once the markets open up.
From November 2019, the world has experienced a panic situation due to the novel coronavirus. In this pandemic, many industries are hampered, their revenues are declined. For many industries, this was the watershed moment. So, to support their operating cycle, they started prioritizing their expenses. Some of the expenses they cut down completely or in the proportion. Also, this was the situation where they started developing the risk response planning for their businesses. They also started the technological advancement in their businesses because their business survival is at stake. Also, the many industries started reviewing their corporate structure and also make the necessary adjustment. In this pandemic situation, they started taking the various important decisions regarding the corporate finance, like investing activities, financing activities, their dividend payments. The government is also helping by way of providing the corporate finances, term loans, providing the tax break, also taking the decisions regarding the loan repayment by providing them the extra time for the repayment of their loans. In this pandemic situations, many industries are observed adopting some new policies, new strategies and new style of business apart from their traditional business style.
Well, not all is negative about the coronavirus-led lockdown. Certainly not for India's largest IT services firm, TCS. The crisis has actually provided an opportunity to the company to discard its 20-year-old operating model and leapfrog into a new model of work with an outlook for most of their employees working remotely. TCS MD Rajesh Gopinathan believes that it will help organizations become more resilient because the fully distributed nature of this model is inherently less risky and better suited for business continuity and agility. Encouraging more employees to work from home will also help TCS save on the costs, as it will require far less office space than what it is occupied today.
We don't very closely monitor corporate bonds, CPs, etc. Has money already gotten cheaper for corporates? And do you think in the days to come, the spread will lower and we will actually see corporates getting money cheaper?
Even with the financial assistance from governments, will it be enough to help save a business during this pandemic?